He is known for being a Russian anarchist and geographer. He is recognized for his advocacy of anarchist communism. He is Peter Kropotkin. In the vast expanse of the Russian landscape, amidst the rigid structures of aristocracy, a man named Peter Kropotkin emerged as a voice of dissent. Born into an aristocratic landowning family, Kropotkin's journey took an unexpected turn as he embraced the ideals of anarchism. His early years were marked by military service and geological expeditions, but it was his time in exile that truly shaped his beliefs. For 41 years, Kropotkin found himself in lands far from his homeland, in Switzerland, France, and England. It was during this time that he became a tireless advocate for a society that rejected central government and embraced voluntary associations. Kropotkin believed in a decentralized communist society, where self-governing communities and worker-run enterprises would flourish. His writings became a beacon of hope for those who yearned for a more equitable world. In his influential works, such as The Conquest of Bread and Fields, Factories, and Workshops, Kropotkin unveiled his vision of a society free from the shackles of hierarchy and exploitation. His words resonated with countless individuals, inspiring them to question the status quo and envision a future based on mutual aid and cooperation. Kropotkin's contributions extended beyond his literary endeavors. He even lent his expertise to the Encyclopaedia Britannica 11th edition, where he penned the article on anarchism. His dedication to anarchist philosophy also led him to delve into the realm of ethics, although his work in this area remained unfinished. As the winds of revolution swept across Russia in 1917, Kropotkin returned to his homeland. However, he soon became disillusioned with the Bolshevik state, realizing that his ideals of a decentralized society were not aligned with the path the country was taking. Peter Kropotkin, the protagonist of this tale, left an indelible mark on anarchist thought. His vision of a society built on voluntary associations and worker autonomy continues to inspire generations, challenging the notions of centralized power and advocating for a world where cooperation and mutual aid reign supreme. Peter Kropotkin, a renowned philosopher, was deeply critical of the economic systems of feudalism and capitalism. He believed that these systems not only perpetuated poverty and artificial scarcity but also fostered privilege within society. In response, he proposed an alternative economic system rooted in principles of mutual aid, mutual support, and voluntary cooperation. According to Kropotkin, these principles already exist in both the evolution of species and human society. While Kropotkin shared some common ground with Marxists in their critique of capitalism, he diverged on certain key points. One such point was his disagreement with the labor theory of value, which posits a direct relationship between the value of commodities and the labor invested in their production. Kropotkin believed that this link was not necessary and could be severed. Instead, he focused on the power dynamics between employers and employees, highlighting the control exerted by employers over their workers. Kropotkin attributed this power imbalance to the state's protection of private ownership of productive resources. By safeguarding the rights of private owners, the state enabled employers to wield their authority over employees. However, Kropotkin went beyond the extraction of surplus value from labor and argued that the very existence of surplus value was a problem in itself. He believed that even if workers in a particular industry were to keep their surplus for themselves, it would still lead to an unjust society. Kropotkin emphasized the importance of redistributing surplus resources for the common good. In summary, Peter Kropotkin's critique of capitalism and feudalism centered on their contribution to poverty, artificial scarcity, and privilege. He proposed a decentralized economic system based on mutual aid and voluntary cooperation. While he disagreed with certain aspects of the Marxist critique, he highlighted the power dynamics between employers and employees, which he attributed to the state's protection of private ownership. Kropotkin believed that the possibility of surplus value itself posed a problem and advocated for its redistribution to create a more just society. Kropotkin, a renowned philosopher and advocate for social revolution, believed that true communism could only be achieved through the complete abolition of the state and private property. He saw the social revolution as the people taking possession of all social wealth and eliminating the forces that hindered the development of humanity. Kropotkin argued that any central authority, even in the form of a revolutionary government, was incompatible with the transformative changes required for a just society. In Kropotkin's view, retaining the mechanisms of the state would perpetuate the power dynamics between classes and prevent the emancipation of the working class. He believed that post-revolutionary governments lacked the local knowledge necessary to effectively organize a diverse population. Moreover, the state would resort to violence and coercion to suppress further revolution and maintain control over the working class. This would ultimately lead to the recreation of classes and further oppression, undermining the goals of the revolution. Instead of a centralized approach, Kropotkin emphasized the importance of decentralized organization. He argued that dissolving the state would render counter-revolution impotent without resorting to authoritarian means. Kropotkin believed that the revolutionary idea, accompanied by a broad and constructive force arising from the people, would paralyze the instruments of governance used by the ruling class. This boldness of thought and initiative from the people themselves would provide the power needed to achieve true revolution. Kropotkin's critique of state socialism extended to the Bolsheviks' rule after the October Revolution. He wrote letters to Lenin expressing his concerns about the centralized control and bureaucratic organization, which he believed would lead to desperate conditions and hinder the progress of the revolution. Kropotkin denounced the violence and terror associated with the regime, arguing that it was needlessly destructive and contrary to the principles of a just society. Kropotkin's philosophy of critique of state socialism reminds us of the importance of decentralization, bold ideas, and the initiative of the people in bringing about meaningful change. It encourages us to question the role of authority and centralized power in our daily lives and to strive for a society that values cooperation, autonomy, and the well-being of all its members. In the early 20th century, Peter Kropotkin, a Russian philosopher and anarchist, challenged the prevailing belief in social Darwinism. While proponents of social Darwinism argued for competition and natural hierarchy as the driving forces of human survival, Kropotkin proposed a different perspective. He believed that it was cooperation, not competition, that led to the success of species, including humans. Kropotkin's ideas were outlined in his book Mutual Aid, A Factor of Evolution, published in 1902. In this groundbreaking work, he emphasized the importance of cooperation in the evolution of both animals and humans. He acknowledged the presence of competitive urges in humans but argued that they were not the driving force of human history. According to Kropotkin, seeking out conflict only proved to be socially beneficial when it aimed to combat injustice and authoritarian institutions such as the state or the Russian Orthodox Church. He saw these institutions as hindrances to human creativity and the innate drive towards cooperation. Kropotkin firmly believed that the benefits derived from mutual organization and cooperation were more incentivizing to humans than mutual strife. He hoped that, in the long run, mutual organization would inspire individuals to be more productive. His ideas found resonance among anarcho-primitivists and anarcho-communists, who advocated for a gift economy as a means to break the cycle of poverty. They drew inspiration from Kropotkin's first-hand observations of hunter-gatherer societies, where mutual aid was implemented. These societies demonstrated the power and effectiveness of cooperation in meeting the needs of the community. Kropotkin's philosophy of cooperation over competition has enduring relevance in our daily lives. It reminds us of the importance of working together, supporting one another, and fostering a sense of community. By embracing mutual aid and cooperation, we can strive towards a more just and equitable society, challenging oppressive institutions and nurturing human creativity. In his 1892 book, The Conquest of Bread, Peter Kropotkin proposed a system of economics based on mutual exchanges made in a system of voluntary cooperation. Kropotkin believed that in a socially, culturally, and industrially developed society, there would be no barriers to prevent everyone from taking what they need from the social product. He envisioned a world without preferential distribution, pricing, or monetary exchange, ultimately supporting the abolition of money or tokens of exchange for goods and services. Challenging Mikhail Bakunin's collectivist economic model, Kropotkin argued that it would lead to the same centralization and inequality as a capitalist wage system. He contended that determining the value of an individual's contributions to the products of labor was impossible. Kropotkin believed that those who held the power to determine wages would inevitably wield authority over others, thus perpetuating inequality. According to Kirkpatrick Sale, Kropotkin's work on mutual aid allowed him to move beyond the limitations of individual anarchism and no-laws anarchism. He presented a vision of communal anarchism, drawing inspiration from independent cooperative communities. Kropotkin opposed centralized government and state-level laws, advocating instead for small-scale communities, communes, and co-ops to flourish without centralized control. He saw these models as providing humans with a rich material life and wide areas of liberty. Kropotkin's philosophy of mutual aid offers valuable insights for our daily lives. It encourages us to prioritize cooperation and voluntary exchanges rather than competition and monetary gain. By embracing the principles of mutual aid, we can foster a sense of community, support one another, and work together towards a more equitable and sustainable society.
Do you want to explore more philosophers? Who do you want to see featured next? Subscribe and leave a comment below to let me know. I'll see you in the next video.